Well, I think one of the things that struck me is the willingness of delegates here, who are superintendents and chief superintendents from right across England and Wales, to actually engage in very, very intelligent, mature debate about some very, very key and important issues in policing. So, for example, we've had debates about direct entry, we've had debates about the resilience of superintendents, and of course, as you will have heard this afternoon, we had a very interesting session with the Home Secretary, listening to what she has to say about the government's reform programme. So I think the overall sense that I've got from the delegates is that they are definitely ready for change, they understand the dynamics, but they do have their concerns, and they have the concerns about police numbers, but they also have a concern about the service ultimately that we are able to deliver to the public. One of the interesting things that actually emerged from that debate is that superintendents are actually human beings. And I know sometimes, we are regarded as senior officers first and foremost, but actually they're human beings. And like all human beings, they have their strengths, they have their own issues about resilience. And what I'm concerned about is that we are finding that many of my members are actually working inordinately long hours, disrupting their health, disrupting their family life. Now that applies to police officers of all ranks, not just to superintendents. But what we are finding is that superintendents in particular we are losing numbers more than any other rank in the police service. And that has been consistent over the last 30 years. So over the last 30 years, nearly all ranks in the police service have either grown or stayed the same. The number of superintendents are reduced by 50%. And on top of that 50%, we're now seeing an additional 40% in some forces. So there is getting to the realisation that we've got to the point now where superintendents are working too long, too hard, and taking too much responsibility. The problem is, as we all are in superintending ranks, we're very professional. We actually enjoy and love the work that we do, and we are probably our own worst enemies. And I think my job is to say to colleagues, you need to sometimes take that step back and consider the impact long term on you, your health, but also the resilience of your organisation, because tired superintendents make bad decisions. The problem, and we've seen it articulated very well today, is when people talk about direct entry, they don't actually say what it is they mean. So is direct entry about bringing people at various ranks, so inspector ranks, or superintending ranks, or even at chief constable? Or is it about bringing people at different levels and for short-term commissions? And so I think we need clarity about what people mean in the first case. And then there are two reasons why people talk about direct entry. And that is either to increase the diversity at the senior levels of the service, or it is to improve the levels of leadership at the top of the service. And both of those cause me some concern, to be quite honest, because I actually think direct entry would have minimal impact on diversity. I think the reality is we more than likely get more of the same. So there's a very danger that the very reforms to improve diversity will not work. I think if you want to improve diversity in the police service, you've got to look at the very front end of the service and address the issues why we're not recruiting sufficient minority officers. In terms of leadership, well, I have to say, I find it difficult to understand that the Prime Minister and the Home Secretary say we have the finest police service in the world, and then say we need to improve our senior leadership. We've recently appointed a new Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police, and there were 4 extremely high calibre candidates. So my view is I don't believe the case has been made out yet for direct entry to improve leadership at the top of the service. I think those people who are arguing for that really need to produce the evidence. Well, I think as an association, where we sit in policing is in between our colleagues in the Federation and ACPO. And I've worked very hard with Paul McKeever and with Hugh Ward to get a sense that we within the service are working together to try and identify key issues that we can all agree on. And that work continues, sometimes behind the scenes. What I called for today with the Home Secretary was that I think over the last 15 months what has emerged is quite a negative narrative about policing. So it is about being over-bureaucratic, not very good leaders, badly managed, poorly led, overpaid in some cases. And I think this has had an impact on the public, and particularly in the time of the riots when it was immediately opinioned that the tactics were wrong and badly advised. So I think that the service has gone through a period where there's been very bad news about policing. And I think it's just time to actually forget about the bad things, and actually build on the good. Build on the good, make it excellent, and quite properly address those issues that are causing problems, but not forget the excellence that there is in policing.